Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the August edition of the CDC Experience. I am Sertura Schumann-Smith. I am a manager of projects and community engagement here at the Corporation to Develop Communities of Tampa. And I am so excited to have a very special guest with me today. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about him, but before we get to our guest, I want to make sure that you can catch us on a lot of our social media platforms to watch this podcast. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Spotify, or you can go to our website at www.cdcoftampa.org. So I would like for you all to welcome my very special guest, Mr. B. Dexter Lewis, who is the Director of Public, I'll get that right, Relations with the Hillsborough County Children's Board. Welcome, Dexter.
Thank you. Yes, I relate to the public as Director of Public Relations. I'm with you.
We got it.
Yes, that's right.
We got it. So it's been a minute, Dexter, since we've been on our podcast, so you all forgive me, but I have to say this to you, Dexter, and it's been a pleasure for me to do these podcasts, but I am always so honored and privileged when I get to interview people who have always admired and had a great deal of respect for. And you've been one of those people.
Me? Little old me? Thank you,
little
Sator.
old you. And as we were talking before we started this, I found out that you were like a baby. You're very young. And so we met and you were younger. But I had to tell everybody, Dexter just celebrated a birthday last week. Not going to let you know which one. But a blessing to have you here.
Thank you.
And belated happy birthday wishes to you and welcome to the CDC.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And, you know, it's been a pleasure to know you. And, you know, you're doing a wonderful job in the community. So thank you.
Yes, sir. So we'll get right to it. First things first. People hear Children's Board.
Yes.
They've heard it for years. Children's Board has been around for a very long time. But if someone were to say, what is a Children's Board? How would you answer that?
The Children's Board, we invest in quality programs and services to ensure the health and well-being of all children and families in our community. We were started by voter referendum in 1988. Okay. Essentially, the voters of Hillsborough County decided that they wanted a special tax to go directly to children and family services. We are one of 13 children's services councils across the state of Florida. Okay. And through that funding, we're able to make sure that children have the best possible start at life.
Okay. Yeah. And you know what's funny? You said about the referendum.
Yes.
I remember when I'm going to say really grew up and got my first house and got my first tax bill. And I don't think people really look at the tax bill. They just look at the amount.
That's right.
But you see all the things that your money goes to. And so I don't even think people realize that their taxes go to support the Children's Board. That's right. So, you know, prime example of tax dollars at work.
That's right.
And good work.
That's right. Essentially, we pay ourselves to support children and families.
Yes.
And we are a very resource-rich community because of that. We are better because of that. We are funding programs and services that are central to kids, you know, at birth, at every developmental stage in their life. So thank you for bringing up the tax bill. I too now pay the Children's Board among the other special taxing districts.
You know, we get so, you know, frustrated when we see it, but know that your dollars are going to good use.
That's right.
So what kind of resources, Dexter, are available?
Yes, there
the Children's Board?
Yes, that's a good question. There's a ton of resources and programs that we support through our funding. But our four main focus areas are to ensure children are healthy and safe, they're developmentally on track, they have family support, and that they're ready to learn. So all of the nonprofits that apply for our funding are very aware of our four main focus areas. And to kind of drill down a little bit more, some of those programs include developmental screenings, so making sure that before kids go to kindergarten, when they're 2 and 3 years old, parents can go to a resource center or through the Early Childhood Council can get that developmental screening. One of my favorite programs is the Children's Board Free Tuesday, which allows parents to take their kids to Glacier Children's Museum for
that's
free.
still going on.
Let me say that again, for free.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
The first
okay.
Tuesday of every month, from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. for kids birth to age 10 years old.
Oh.
There's free swim lessons through High Five Inc., the Water Warriors program, which includes 8 free swim lessons for children ages 3 to 18.
I didn't know about that.
I mean, there's so many programs. I could go on and on and on. But if you go to our website, childrensboard.org, and you click on our family guide, which is provided in English and Spanish, you can learn more about the 65 different nonprofits that we're currently funding, which is about 100 different programs throughout Hillsborough County.
And I love your family guides.
Yes.
Because they're small, they're convenient.
That's right.
If you're carrying a purse, you can put it in your purse. If you're driving your car, you can put it in your glove compartment. So parents, if you're somewhere with your children and you're trying to figure out when did he say free Tuesdays and
That's right.
all of these free activities,
right.
just go to that family
That's
guide.
right.
And most of your nonprofit agencies do keep them. I know we get boxes of them and we give them out. So we're doing our part for that.
Thank you.
But I just want to emphasize again about the free programming.
That's right.
Again, we're paying taxes. And families, I know so many times there's so many things that parents need to get done or parents don't know. What do I do with my child in this situation? Or what's going on in the summer? I can speak from experience in working with the Children's Board that there are so many resources out there, and I think we just have to do a better job at getting people, not the Children's Board or any other organization. We just have to we as a community just have to be in tune to what's out there. Because I hear a lot of people say, well, I didn't know anything about it. Well, Dexter was on our show.
That's right.
The Children's Board is always everywhere. So just, let's just be more in tune to what is out there. So tell me about your role with the agency as the director of public, there's that word again, in your role.
That's right.
Yes.
Yes. Again, relating to the public.
Okay.
No, essentially, in my role, I oversee all the external communications for the agency, and kind of like what you said, ensuring that people know about the programs and services. It's really important for me to be out in the community. Number one, connecting families to our programs and services, telling them how we're funded, because it's a very special tax. I want to reiterate that because at any moment, there is no threat at this point, but we could go up for referendum, meaning that Children's Board could be on the ballot, and if people don't, show up and vote and say yes to Children's Board funding, then a lot of our smaller nonprofits' doors will close, and a lot of important resources for the community won't be in the community any longer. So that's really why public relations is important to the agency. You mentioned the family guide, so that comes through my purview as well. All website content, sort of the media liaison, so working with the media as well to tell our story. Opportunities like this, with the blessing of our executive director, Rebecca Bacon, getting out into the community. Community engagement is a huge part of what we do because without the community, we don't exist either. We do this work in collaboration and partnership with all of our funded providers. So with our funded providers, I provide some support to them as needed, whether it's PR strategy, comm strategy, whether it's sometimes putting flyers together for them, really just helping in all things and making sure, because my department it's really me and one other person. So we can't do this alone. It's important that our funded agencies have our logo on their flyer, kind of like you're sharing how we're funded with the community, so people can connect the dots and realize, oh, this isn't just free. This money is happening because people are paying their taxes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And collaborations and partnerships are so important.
That's right.
Especially in nonprofit. A lot of people again think that, oh, you're getting all of this tax money, so you must have a staff of 200 people working. No, it's not how it works. Like Dexter just said, it's himself and one other person working in that department. And there are so many people working with the Children's Board who are doing such amazing, amazing work. And I will just give this personal little testimony. I've worked with the Children's Board directly as far as being a a recipient of a grant with a program that I was actually over. And I can tell you all, your tax dollars do work. The Children's Board makes sure that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing with those funds, that the right people are being served with those funds, that the outcomes
That's right.
are being measured properly.
That's right.
And that something about those P words
It's
today.
okay.
That those outcomes are being measured the way they should, and the results.
That's right. That's right.
And the results are there. So please, I'm telling you all, the Children's Board is on point with the work that they do in the community that they serve. So thank you for that. And I know you all have a new director, Rebecca Bacon.
Yes.
So welcome to the Children's Board, to the Tampa community. So we're just, continuing to look forward to the work that you all are going to be doing.
Thank you.
So
And might I just say, Rebecca has been in this community for over 20 years.
Oh, okay.
And so she, was formerly our director of ASO and has been with the agency for 16 years. So she's very much so. She understands the needs and concerns of families in this community, and she's been with us in this role as CEO since October 1. So
perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
I know my church had her there.
Oh, yes.
So that's wonderful.
Yes.
So, big question for you: how does the Children's Board decide where funding is needed?
Yes, that's a great question. So I want to debunk any myths out there concerning this.
Please do.
I mentioned earlier we can't do this work without the community, and that includes parents. So every 3 years we host town hall meetings. We just had our last series of town hall meetings in 2023. And so those town hall meetings allow us to understand, before major funding release years, what's happening in the community, what are parents' concerns, what do they need to support their kids. So town hall meetings are really a major way that we get feedback. And then as we're out in the community on a regular basis doing community outreach, we're able to get feedback from families. So through that feedback, we're able to overlay that data with local data that we get from the county, from the school district, and then that informs the kind of funding releases that are provided to the community. Some of the concerns from 2023 for parents are mental health supports for children and parents. Another concern is quality early learning opportunities for children that are younger, and then the pervasive affordability of housing, which continues to be an issue in this community. Of course, we can't do this. Everything doesn't fall within the purview of our mission, so we make sure that we send that report, and the report has been sent out to all of our community partners, elected officials, so that we can do this work together to try and make Hillsborough County one of the top places to raise children, and that's the vision of the Children's Board.
And Dexter, I love that when you say one of the Hillsborough County, one of the top places for people to raise children.
That's right.
Because if the state is saying, Forbes magazine is saying that this is one of the top places to live.
Right, that's right.
We need to make sure that we're talking about living for the family, living for the children, not just coming to Tampa or Florida because of the sunshine.
That's right.
Or the beaches. It has to be a quality life. And I know that's what you all are big on. And one other thing, as I listen to you, one of the things that we're going to be doing here when we work with affordable housing, but people just think the structure,
right?
The brick and mortar, but what's going on in the house?
That's a great point.
What's going on in the house. We'll get you the home. We'll help you maintain the home, but we want to make sure that the family structure is stable as well.
That's right.
That there's stability there, because you mentioned the mental health piece. That is a huge component of, just stability overall. Right. We do workforce, so we want to make sure that parents are working so that they can provide for their children.
That's right.
But again, just the work that the Children's Board does for the community and for other agencies will lead me to my next question. How can a nonprofit that's looking for funding find out more information about the Children's Board?
This is my favorite question.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
So for all the nonprofits out in providing services for children and families in Hillsborough County, One of the quickest ways you can learn about our funding opportunities is by subscribing to our e-newsletter. And the quickest way to do that is just to go to the homepage of our website, scroll down to the bottom of that homepage, and you'll find an opportunity to subscribe to that monthly newsletter that goes out. And the listserv is growing, so we're really excited about that. But one of the even more important ways to find out is on our website, we have on the homepage, there's a funding tab. If you click on the funding tab, it's a drop down, and there's a funding opportunities webpage. You might have been on that webpage a couple times in the past.
I believe so.
And on the top of that page, so that's where we put all of our RFPs or ITNs, when funding opportunities or grant opportunities are released into the community. On that agency, there's an agency capacity checklist on the very top of that web page.
Okay.
So if you click on that web page, on that tab, it'll open up to another page, and it gives you almost a check-in to see where you are as a nonprofit organization and whether or not you are ready to apply for a Children's Board grant.
Okay.
So a couple of questions that it might ask you are, do you have an active board of directors? Are you in good standing? Do you have your 501c3 status?
Okay.
Do you have an up-to-date audit? Do you have an operating budget? So these are questions that you can either say yes or no to on this page, and you can sort of figure out, okay, what's going on with my organization? And I encourage all nonprofits to give us a call. We love having conversations with up-and-coming nonprofits or nonprofits that are already providing services to the community, because sometimes, you might even see a need that we don't see being at the Children's Board, even though we are out in the community and we're always getting information. And then we have two other grants that I don't think we talk about a lot enough, and that's our Emerging Need Grant. It's on the same webpage. So if there is a need within a fiscal year that you as a nonprofit leader see in the community, click on that tab as well, or again, give us a call and meet with us and explore ideas on how we can perhaps maybe fund that emerging need. And then the match grant opportunity is another opportunity that we do fund for nonprofits in the community as well.
You said a mouthful, Dexter, and just for reference, for those who don't know, can you tell people what ITN and RFP stands for?
So ITN is intent to negotiate. So that is a type of grant release that we have released in the past in the community, and RFP is request for proposal.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You know what, and a lot of times we do a program here called Impact Mondays, and we mean business to support our small business owners who are looking to, expand or establish or to elevate. But I hear so many people say, I want to start a nonprofit. I want to start a nonprofit. I think I want to start a nonprofit. And having been in nonprofit all my adult life, pretty much, my first question is why? Why?
Yeah.
And, I know people look at nonprofits that we all do great things, and we do. The work that we do is rewarding, but I want you all to make sure that you go to the Children's Board website, because you just started naming a lot of things that people aren't even aware that nonprofit should have. Like, do you have a board?
Right.
Have you been audited?
That's right.
Have you even made any money to be audited?
That's right.
Where are you getting your funding from? So that helps people who want to start a nonprofit get more information. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I had one last question for you, and I'm having a senior moment right there. How can people, one really important question. I know right now you're doing a child safety campaign.
Yes.
Tell us briefly before we head out what that is all about.
Yeah, so our Children's Board Child Safety Campaign, we refer to it as the Prevent Needless Deaths campaign, is where we talk about the 3 leading causes of 100% preventable child death for kids ages birth to age 6 years old. And that's drowning, infant unsafe sleep, and shaken baby syndrome. So it's a campaign, so we do anything from press conferences to we have billboards that are throughout Hillsborough County. And it's important that parents understand how to keep their kids safe. So I talked a little bit about the swim lesson opportunities that we provide in the community. But it's important that kids, if you have a pool at home, it's important for parents
Yes.
to know how to keep their pool safe. So, stressing the importance of having 2 barriers, having that door alarm to the door that goes out to the lanai, to the pool, having that gate around the pool. There have been over 300 deaths for those 3 leading causes of death in the last decade in our community. Last year, there were 9 drowning deaths in the community, and there were a couple of high-profiled child drownings. There have been 14 infant unsafe sleep deaths already in 2024, according to the medical examiner.
Wow.
So making sure that that first year of life, or depending on the developmental stage of the child, that they're sleeping alone on their back in a crib, no pillow bumpers, no toys, nothing that they can suffocate, no large blankets. So these little things that are preventable that we continue to talk about with parents to keep kids safe.
Well, I think that's awesome information, and whatever the CDC can do to help with that, please, by all means, let us know. And I'm not sure how much time we have left, but I do know what my question is.
Yes.
My question is, you have a personal connection to the Corporation to Develop Communities as a young man, right?
Yes.
Tell me quickly, how did you come to the CDC?
It's a long story, but in a former life, I grew up performing, and so I was a part of Gwen School of Music on MLK and 26th,
East
across
Tampa.
from C. Blythe Andrews Library.
Indeed.
And one day after piano lesson, my mom just left me there. I think I was maybe 6 or 7, and Miss Gwen had started an inner city boys choir, and so. We would do scriptures, we would sing, we sang all over the community, and then one day Miss Chloe and Miss Gwen started a partnership for their Men to Boys program. So we would walk over to the original CDC of Tampa office, and we would build community and get mentorship from older men. It was a wonderful experience that I had, and I think the story that Miss Chloe always tells is at a fundraising event, I was singing a solo, and I think a big wig donor ended up writing a check as a result. Of course, I don't remember all the specifics of this. It was a long time ago. But the CDC of Tampa is a part of my upbringing, and I think because of my parents and because of seeing the likes of Miss Chloe and Mr. Coney in the community, really has inspired me to do the work that I do and continue to encourage me. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I remembered that question. So thank you. And Dexter Lewis with the Hillsborough County Children's Board, thank you so very much for being my guest today. And again, you can watch us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Spotify, and of course, our website at www.cdcoftampa. I am Satora Schumann Smith, and thank you so much for joining us.